Hello Tubesters, welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be looking at some Foundry miniatures, 28mm, slightly probably on the small side as a Foundry, so some were, I believe a lot of them, not all for definite, but a lot of them were sculpted by the Perrys, as a lot of you guys know, in there before they did Perry miniatures, I believe. I'm not an expert on subject. I went fishing on eBay, put in 3 bids and got one. I'm really happy with these guys. They're Marlburian, the early 1700s anyway. I suppose you could go far back as the 1680s, but mainly King William and Queen Mary, Queen Anne, and obviously the arch enemy of the United Kingdom towards the end of that period, the great nemesis himself, King Louis, and all his machinations around Europe. Now, sorry, playing with the bag there. They are really nice little figures. Now, bearing in mind I didn't have my readers on at the time when I looked at them, which was about half an hour ago, but they are cracking little figures, really chuffed with them. They're all officers. There's only 6 of them or whatever, and I will paint them individually and sell them just on little basis if I can sell them. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I thought, I believe you can. I like the period without being an expert, if that makes sense. But more or less, uniforms are interchangeable, especially with the officers of the period. But even the other ranks, really, they were all basically the same, just sometimes colour variations, obviously. So I thought I'd paint obviously each one individually. They're not I'm not going to put them aside and maybe get a unit or anything like that. I do find the Foundry can be quite expensive, and as I paint for the enjoyment and then sell on, I need to turn a profit on them. It's I do paint for enjoyment, but I also paint to pay bills, and you can sometimes, if you buy an expensive unit to paint, obviously you have to make sure you sell it. If you painted, say, a cheaper unit like a box of Perry plastics, if they have to sit there a year or 6 months or a month, whatever it is, £20 odd is a bit different to £40 or £50 odd when you add the postage and whatever. So yeah, I often like, I don't do it a lot because I've got a fair amount of commission work, and then I do my modelling and whatever as well, so as a part of my own out of painting hours, if that makes sense. But I do like to paint the odd little just single figures and things, because I get the enjoyment of painting something different, and you make a bit of money at the same time if you can make the money. So join me at the bench and we'll take a look at these little guys. Just one apology, thanks to Archie for letting me know. He sent me a message. I put up a video which is the start of the painting the Few bust, so let's just call it the Battle of Britain pilot. Some uncountable reason I'd stuck the tank video on at the front, and Archie was good enough to go and come along on the messenger and tell me that. So that's why that was removed. If you did see it a bit, it's a boring video. I'm showing you how I've just taken different casting plugs off the resin, and what I do, the tools I use and things like that. So that will be reloaded up with a fresh face to the camera and started again, but it won't be today. So join me at the bench, guys. But again, sorry, I do apologise for that any of you guys thought, what the heck's he doing here? It's not the first time. You know what I'm like. It was a rough couple of days, and when the heads have gone a bit, concentration goes as well. So I do apologise for that. Right, let's go to the bench and see these little fellas. Right, guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. This is take 2. Let me just hopefully not knock everything over. Only the 5 figures. As I say, I just went dipping into eBay and putting the odd bid on. I've measured these. They are 25. I'm doing it again without going in with the There we go. Keep the figure under the light, Gav. People can see it. Yeah, I've measured with my ruler from obviously toe tip to eyes is 25mm. So they're the usual Foundry, slightly smaller than the more modern figures, which tend to be around 28mm, which, as we know, sometimes can cause a bit of difference if they're mixed up with the larger figures. But you know, in their own units, absolutely fine. And to be honest with you, I know the light's bouncing off that a bit, but that's a fantastic figure. You wouldn't, I mean, I'm not saying they're ancient or anything, but I just think that's a beautiful figure. Now, I don't know if that one, I think the rest are all officers. I'm not sure if this guy's supposed to be or not. I mean, you could see he's got no sash, he's got no sabre or anything, or sword. His neckerchief's over. If he had a gorget, it's over that. So whether he's supposed to, he's just an ad hoc figure. I'm not 100% sure. I have looked on the Foundry website, but to be honest with you, I was that quick looking. I couldn't tell you which pack they came from. So I'll have to have another look to see if he's supposed to be an officer or if it's just been put in, and whatever. We'll make something of him anyway. It just needs a bit of clean up, but not overly. There are mould lines on them. You can see across the. I mean, you're always going to get them. It's just how big and how, you know, how much they'll destroy the detail around them as you take them off. But I always love this period with the deep cuffs and that, because you can get a lot. Sorry guys, just had a big sneeze. I really like the period. I just you know, from the 10mm that you see me paint occasionally to these 28s, and it's the first time I've you know, from the 1680s up to the 1720s or whatever 30s, I've not actually painted any 28mm. I don't believe, but no, really impressed with these guys. As I say, the only thing, if it's a drawback to anybody, is the you know, 25mm compared to 28. But you know, anybody wanting to learn to paint figures, this type of era is quite good, because you haven't got a lot. Well, you have got lace it sometimes on officers and sergeants, but it's not a lot. You know, they're not hard to learn to paint on, and there's a big surface area for you to have a go at. So that's number one. Now we're going to name him Justin, after Justin the Miniature Painters channel. Now, I'm not casting aspersions, Justin, that you aren't an officer, right? I've watched enough of your videos to know that you are officer-like material, and he may still turn out to be an officer. I'm not 100% sure yet, but yeah, that's Justin. And this next guy, he's almost saying, look at my collection of figures behind me. So this guy has to be Anthony from the Grana Priego channel. Hope I've got that right. Seems to have one extra long lock behind him. Got a nice sash on. Sword. Usual buckled shoes. Stockings with a garter type things on. Another really nice figure. I'll put a shadow on there so you can see him a bit better. Button details nice. I just think they're really nice figures. The only thing that ever puts me off with Foundry is just I find that quite expensive. Now I paint for the pleasure and then obviously to sell on afterwards. So I need to turn profit, because although I enjoy painting, I have to obviously add to our household income. And if I've suddenly painted a whole unit and I'm stuck with them, because that happens, sometimes it could take me a year to sell a unit of figures. It just depends. And there's no rhyme or reason to it either. Sometimes you've got good clients that know I'm painting a unit, they've seen them on here or they've seen them on Facebook or whatever, and they'll, you know, say, Gav, if nobody's bought that unit, I'll have it off you. Other times I'm resorting to having to put them on eBay, and you know, sometimes they just don't sell. So yeah, you know, so for expensive units, you've got to be prepared to take the hit if they don't, or if they sell for, you know, your bottom dollar price, which that happens quite often as well. So these guys are all going to be painted up singly and based singly, and then I'll just put them on eBay afterwards. But I really do like these figures. When I'd seen the photo on, whose photo was? Oh, that's Charlie Mack. Charlie Mack's decided to get in on the act with his big group build entry. Nice one, Charlie. Yeah, I just think they're fantastic figures. Again, he's shouting away, this guy. So this guy's going to be, I have wrote them all down because I'd forget. That's why we to do the second time. This is Cal. And now I'm not saying you shout a lot, Cal, but I would imagine when you're doing your hockey and whatever, I've got a feeling Cal does a lot of shouting. He's not the, he's a bruiser, is our Cal. He plays to win. Don't get fooled by that extra soft voice and temperament that he puts over on his videos. He's a bruiser. So anyway, there we go, Cal. That's you. We've got two of the same here. Haughty, hand on waist. Everybody can hear what he's saying. Look, I mean, the teeth and everything, that are brilliant. Again, gorget under his jacket. Now, you'd never believe this. The guy that's on this one, I would hardly call haughty and shouting, but we've not seen him at work, have we? So he might be just that, and that is Victor of Vic's Miniatures. And I do happen to know he's a big fan of the Austrian and Spanish succession. So this should be right down your street, Victor. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to be yet. What any of these countries, I'm going to paint them, as I say, if I haven't said, they're going to be different countries, hopefully. And this is on the same pose, so you've seen them all again. Again, let's just have a quick look for any deformities, whatever, which I can't particularly see. Just got to be a bit careful with the sharp bits on. I usually just gently file them or round them off very slightly, just so they don't catch so much and take your paint off. Because even with a couple of coats of varnish, you quite often find with a very sharp edge, you can get the old diamond chips showing through. Again, bit of mould line, but nothing major. And this guy here is Coleshill Terry, better known to you guys as Grandad's Art Space. Again, I'm only going on what Terry's family say, that he's haughty and shouts a lot, or people like to hear his voice. That's what the neighbours say anyway. So guys, I better just show you because I've got weapons. I obviously haven't been putting the weapons up to the figures yet, so we'll see on that. I will look again on the Foundry website to see what actually, if they do come from one pack or separate. But we've got pistols and swords. Pistols are going to need a bit of work to them, but again, nothing major. Same as a sword. Right, guys. Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to show those off before at some stage they get painted. The emphasis on some stage, as I've got what we got four in figure wise. We've got 4 Vietnam figures that are almost done, apart from the flesh and some bits and pieces on them. 2 American Civil War figures to be painted next before we get onto these guys. And I have got a plastic sprue that I did one of them buy it now things on eBay yesterday as well, coming in, and I can't remember now if I've bought a Victrix sprue of Gaulish warriors or Germanic warriors. I just fancy doing some tartans and some tattoos and all that type of stuff, so I have no idea what they are, but there's something in that region. Those, again, another, I like early Imperial Rome and the enemies of, so yeah, I'll have that to have a quick show and tell and a paint along as well. So next time you see Justin, Anthony, Cal, Victor and Terry, they will all be painted, if not in one go on a video, in singles. I don't know yet. Well, you know, I like to get a video out. We'll see. But they may be about probably about 3 or 4 weeks away. Yeah, I don't know. Look after yourselves, guys. We'll catch each other very, very, very soon on another video. Cheers.